So that's what the OneMindSet Foundation here, something that can continue to go no matter the incident or the crisis. We almost like a service. So like the same way you'll see AT&T pull up with a cable, you know, when you see AT&T, they coming in to put in Wi-Fi. Well, you see OneMindSet, we come in to uplift and make change in the community. And so that's the point of our foundation here today.
All right, we're gonna rock out with that.
Won't take too much of the Thursday night. I know somebody out there celebrating J13. What's good, Doc?
What's good? Rashad Tate in the building.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What's up, Jeremiah? Trying to drop that knowledge. Man, so here today I got my dog, the Tech Consulting. He has his own business going in where he teach people how to get into IT and different IT jobs. And in doing so, people are like, man, like, why is it important? And I kind of got a statistic of it, of why IT jobs are important and how they can best suit us. Because a lot of people in under-resourced communities don't know about IT jobs and know about the opportunities out there for us. And so I just wanted to drop this knowledge. That's what I got you on here today for. And I'm also going to let you speak on yourself a little bit because I don't know much about you, and I would love to learn more. But just why IT career is just so beneficial. I got some statistics right here. It says employment in computer and information technology occupation is projected to grow 13% from 2020 to 2030, faster than the average for all occupations. These occupations are projected to add about 667,000 new jobs. Entry-level IT on a low end makes between 40K to 60K a year. Job stability. For one, IT offers job stability because there are more demand for skilled IT professionals than are for people in the field. Beyond that, IT roles tend to come with compensation that reflects the demand. So a lot of times people are like, man, I'm at work, I'm not getting compensated for my work, and I want to get paid for how much I put the work in. Well, a lot of times in these IT careers, the pay reflects the work that you're putting in. And so that's why I brought him on today, just to speak on it. And I have some couple questions that people may ask on just how to get into IT jobs and how to expand on these roles. So further ado, my dog Tech Consulting, you just speak on yourself a little bit. I can't hear you.
I forgot I was muted. I'm good now?
Yeah, you go. Yeah.
All right, bet. What's going on, everybody, man? My real name is Henry Davis. I'm from Shreveport, alumni of Huntington High School. Class of 2010? So I've been in the field for about 10 years now. Got my undergrad from LA Tech, then got a master's from the University of Dallas. And I actually started my professional career actually in Bossier. It's General Dynamics now, but before then we were in that Cyber Command building. And yeah, I don't want to bore y'all too long. I got about me on my website, but I can go on and on. But I'll touch on something that you actually said when you open up. This is something you're right about. Like, we don't know more about this. I know they kind of talked about it in the Career Center a little bit when we was coming through, but it wasn't pushed a lot. Now, thankful, like my guy D-Jax is on here and there's others that look like us. We own the YouTubes and the Twitters creating content, helping people get in and showing them people like us, get these high-paying jobs and we can take care of our families. Coming from Shreveport, all you knew about most of the time was, football, basketball. If that don't work out, military, fire department, policeman, work at the post office, be a nurse. Stuff that's guaranteed, not knocking those, but it's more to offer out there than that. And then that's kind of what my platform is for as well. When it comes to like the Textual Talk, it's just showing everybody the representation of us in tech.
Yes, sir. I love to hear that. And I wanted to piggyback on that, just on that position you were saying that just being from Shreveport and not knowing about those opportunities, because I didn't know much about IT growing up, but I was fascinated in computers and things of that nature. And so right now I'm trying to go back and get my my master's in information technology, and so I can learn more. So I'm not just talking about something that I'm not putting in the time to, because I know how important that technology is, and that at this age that, man, like, technology will not slow down. So as time progresses, technology will progress with it. So just making sure that I'm in the forefront with it, because I know a lot of time we may speak on it, but not putting the actual time into it. Because I know I don't want to just saturate the topic and just let people think like, okay, but once you leave here, what you gonna do for it? It's a lot of different door to get into these entry level jobs. Because I know a lot of people that are maybe just working these jobs like, man, like, what's next? Like, man, I'm tired of working this, and like, what's next for me. So it's a lot of ways to get into this field and just allow yourself to know what's next. And so that's some of the questions that I want to bring up and just answer today. So for people that may not know, and also drops on the YouTube show, I'm gonna drop the link to also his page and also to his website. And on his website, maybe just following him and just taking his course and learning about it, so he can show you the ins and outs of really how to get into the game and not just here through the live. And so for my first question, I got, what are some roles and positions that's in IT?
It's a lot of different roles. I honestly would not be able to answer all of them. The most common one that people would know about is like help desk, on which if you are in the Shreveport area, General Dynamics does have help desk type of jobs that you can do. Low barrier to entry, do not require schooling, really don't require certs unless you want to level up. And that's a good way to get some experience while figuring out what you want to do in the tech field. But you got help desk, you can do stuff with networking, databasing, coding, cybersecurity. You could do non-technical roles that are in tech. You got project management, you got stuff with like IT auditing, risk assessors. Man, it's a lot, man. I actually do overload on it. That's why I normally just go to like the sites I refer, like clients who they want to figure out, like when they book with me, sometimes I give like 2 sites I can do to research different roles and then see what they would be interested in. And so it's no shortage of roles. It's pretty much almost a role just about for everybody. You'd be surprised what type of role would be considered to be in tech.
And so from hearing from you, it's almost like when people join the Army or the National Guard, they realize like the whole community in the National Guard and the Army, like, man, it's just not the Army. You got policing, doctors, nursing. It's almost the same, from what I'm hearing. Is that correct? It's almost the same way in IT. You like project management or risk assessment, and those different jobs and roles, like, because it's a whole different community once you step into that IT role and computer and networking role, that it's a whole different ball game. You're taking yourself from reality to virtual reality. So is that correct?
Yeah, I got a good analogy for you. You play football, right?
Yeah, yep.
So we got 11 people on the field at one time versus the opposing team's 11. Every person, because football is the ultimate team game, so every person on the field got their role, regardless if you're the running back and your job is to block for the QB that time, and then that's outside receiver got to run a slant. The same thing with all these different things I named. Like you got the database people, then you got cybersecurity, you got networking, you got the IT ops, engineering. All these different people represent a role.
There you go.
All these different people represent a role. Okay, bet. All of them represent a role within, like, when it comes to the network for the company. So really, no one job is important than the other. Everybody's job is just important. There are some titles that are flashier because they get paid a little bit more money, but you can't do one without the other. So just like, yeah, the quarterback's important, but if that line don't block, he ain't gonna be nothing.
Yeah.
Or yeah, the quarterback good, but if the receiver can't catch, what that means? So it's all the same thing.
I like that. Do you ever have to do another role? Okay, we can piggyback off that question. So they ask, do you ever have to step into another role? So for instance, like, man, as teachers, like you may, the principal may have to come in and teach one day. So is that ever happened to you?
Yeah. I mean, most of the time, I don't know what the real term for it is, but people like to say, like, know your job, one level below you and one level above you. I had times when at my last company, I was the lead threat analyst there. So when we were short some analysts, I had to go back to the regular day-to-day tasks that they do to hold them down while we were trying to hire new people. So yeah, you definitely could do other roles, or possibly if it's in a different job function, if you know enough about it and they trust you, you could do that as well.
Okay. And so from my next question be, so it's like, so knowing one level above you and one level below you, my next question was, what qualifications are needed to be in IT? So what can people maybe that did not get the opportunity to go to college? Okay, so they want to navigate to just going through the IT route. So what qualifications and certifications could allow them to be able to be one level above and one level below?
Honestly, it varies, to be honest, because if you type that very question in online, you're going to get 1,000 answers.
Yeah.
Some people, and guys, I'm going to give y'all some free game. You got to watch out for this. Some people's whole objective is to just get you to get some certs because they teach the classes and they want you to get them, which is fine. But I'm here to tell you that even if you just go get the certs, don't necessarily mean you're going to get the job, because you only prove you can pass the test. It doesn't show that you can do the thing. So it's in my book, but I also get a simple strategy. Is the fact that you find something you want to do, we'll say something like help desk, right? Super
Okay.
simple. Most of those jobs don't require a degree or not. But if you don't know anything about IT, go research or go study the material for the CompTIA A plus, and maybe some IT fundamental stuff, and keep a bare minimum right there. I won't even tell you to do Network Plus yet, because if you're just doing a basic help desk call center job, you're not even gonna be able to utilize those skills. So check into that, and then what you do in order to figure out what else you need is start researching the different type of help desk jobs and see what type of job skills, keep on popping up over and over again. Write those down, work on those, add them to your resume, and now you're ready to apply and say, like, here's my resume. I know how to do this, this, and this. And like, okay, you know how to do the stuff that we do. Instead of going out here and paying this money and spending all this time studying, and now you got 3-4 certs and you can't get a job. One, because you didn't retain anything from them certs. Two, because depending on what cert you got on your resume, it may take you in a different path, and sometimes a recruiter will overlook that.
Okay, and so I want to piggyback off that question, because I had a question that I wrote, and it said, because it kind of goes it goes hand in hand, and so the one I had was like, what is open source projects, but that also go with how can I gain experience without working, and so I don't know that much knowledge into the IT world, but I do know that it's ways to gain experience when not working, because once you gain the certificates, but what experience do you have to come work with this job? And so with the open source projects, it allows for people to tap into building those experiences and those building blocks needed to know, like, one level above and one level below for the route they want to go. So could you explain just on what is an open source project, and then how could they gain experience from that without working in the field?
Yeah, so all the open source project is a project that anybody can pretty much contribute to or work on. And that is pretty good. If you're got to the level where you can actually contribute, that's definitely something you can put on your resume. And we will put this under project section, to where you said, I worked on this specific project and I added your question about getting experience. It's the same thing. When you start researching those skills and what you need to work on, now you do stuff where you lab. Like, you'll see online, you can either build your home lab, and I see Dwayne, the director, is asking about how you work on the skills. Good question. They have multiple platforms out here. You got, like, I think it's IT Pro TV, Cybrary, Pluralsight, Skillsoft, Coursera, and there's more. But they mostly have the requisite different type of labs and lessons that you can also LinkedIn Learning. You can go on there and you can research these skills. Like, for example, I brought up help desk. So help desk might say, it needs to have knowledge of ITIL. That's ITIL. You can go on somewhere like LinkedIn or like Cybrary or Skillsoft, Pluralsight, any of those sites that I mentioned just now, and type that in. They might have a whole course on ITIL. And so now you sit down through the course, you take your notes, you get a little certificate at the end, and then now you got a new skill you learn, and you can start, figuratively speaking, probably create your own. Most help desk without ticketing system. So you create your own ticketing systems and what type of process you would create and how would you do this and that. So when you go into the interview, which nobody really going to entry level going to have this stuff, I'm telling you right now, you're going to stand out above everybody.
Okay.
They're going to be like, wow, you really impressed us. And if you want to also stick out some more while you learn these new skills, document what you're learning, start a blog, YouTube channel, whatever, and just document everything. That's going to make you stand out more, because companies like leaders. So if you come out like a leader in the beginning, you'll have no problem going up in your career.
Okay. And so your sound went out a little bit when we were speaking on how to gain experience without working, but I don't know what they missed, but I know you kind of hit on the nail a little bit about how to gain experience through those links you just gave, and just how to stand away. So if you think there's one thing they can just take back with them, of just like one good way to gain experience without working, so they can just put themselves above in an entry level, what would that be?
Yeah, I would say lab every day.
Lab every day.
He actually somebody I know, he actually got a YouTube channel. He's a black man too, and networking. Now he works for Amazon AWS. So
I was
lab,
expert.
yeah. So if you lab every day, you can keep on getting. It's like, look, man. The reason why I like tech too, because I mean, I wasn't the best ball player, but I played ball too. But it's just like sports. I love boxing. You got to practice on everything. If you don't
Every day.
practice on your jab, you're gonna
It's
have a
gonna be
bad
weak.
jab on fight night. Yeah. So the skills you want to do, you gotta practice them every day. I don't care if it's 15 to 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Practice those, and
Okay.
you'll get better. But in order to learn a skill, I know somebody said how you learn them. Like I said, I'll reiterate again. There are multiple platforms you can learn this on. I forgot. I even left out YouTube because YouTube could be hit or miss. Sometimes people can give you some concise information, and sometimes it's not. So that's why I brought up the Cybrary. I brought up Skillsoft, Pluralsight,
Mm-hmm.
IT Pro TV, Coursera, and I think what Skillshare. It's a lot. It's a lot of different ones out here.
It's
So
a lot.
you have a variety of ones to look into to see what you like. Sometimes they offer free trials. Sometimes they'll give you free access to things. You just be surprised. You just gotta ask. Like I got access to a free like cybersecurity platform one time because I was trying to do like an endorsement video, and they said, "Well, we can't do that, but we can give you access for like 3 months or
Mm.
whatever." So you just never know.
Just never know. And so my next question would be, it says, how can I network with professionals in this field? Because I know it's not about what you know, but it's about who you know. And just so by finding ways just to network with professionals that can get me above to the next level to get these entry level jobs or even beyond that into the IT field.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. I've been so busy the last couple of days. I meant to let you know that I actually before this I was speaking on a Twitter space about
Mm.
networking. I think they have a replay of that, but it's simple. So now you guys have the ability to like even right now you're not necessarily networking, but now some people may follow me and they might go look through my stuff and
Mm-hmm.
who knows might happen. But networking is pretty hit or miss. If you want to be very good at networking, if you want to reach out to somebody or you need something from them, try to go view some things that they did for as content wise so they post about and bring it up in a conversation so it becomes organic or start commenting on their things and giving your good input on it. It's going to be one small way that you can develop actual network online, especially. And if you're trying to be in a job working now, please make sure you create a LinkedIn and also Twitter as well. Those two sites have pretty much boasted like my network crazy over the last year and a half. And let me see what else I would tell you. And it also depends on what you're trying to do in network. Are you trying to network to get a job? Or are you just trying to get somebody in your network? So you got to ask that question first. If you're just trying to get somebody in your network, try to make it organic. Don't just come in out the blue and try to go for a kill. Trying to cultivate it a little bit like, if it's a dude hollering at a girl, you know what you're trying to do when you trying to get her. You ain't just trying to say what your end goal is in the beginning. You're trying to finesse it. Come in with a little bit of finesse. And the same way when you're reaching out to recruiters, that's the good thing about LinkedIn. You directly reach out to a recruiter for a role you applied to. And then they can say, oh, okay, cool. Send me your resume. By the chance it, probably about 5 minutes, you probably got an interview. Or you're setting up a time for one.
Okay, so my next question would be, so we was talking about that interview. So how can I ensure that I get the job placement? So, and I had put what certifications do I need to ensure that I need the job placement? But I know that can be a hard question to ask because there's so many different jobs. So I will base mine off of the two I know that's kind of hot right now. Being that cloud computing will only get better. Being that with COVID, a lot of times businesses have to work from home. So a lot of their infrastructure has to be put onto the cloud. And so cloud computing, cybersecurity, or help desk. You said that was entry level easy job. So out of those three, what's one certification that you would say is Mando for AWS for the cloud computing? I think that answers itself. For cybersecurity and help desk.
It depends. If you was gonna go help desk route, I would say at least have bare minimum come to your A+.
Okay.
Just for a foundation of just how computers work, even though you may not touch a lick of hardware. If you want to go the cybersecurity route, you need to have a basis of at least security plus and with network plus knowledge. You don't necessarily have to cert, and then the same thing will go for cloud because cloud has to be secure. So you got AWS, Azure, GCP. They have fundamental certs, and then you need to know a little bit about security, know about networking, and then they start having the advanced level certs. Um, it's still in a good space with the cloud. Cloud hadn't been here a while, so they're constantly defining new roles. Like for the last 2 years now, DevSecOps this became something. So they're constantly creating new things. So I'm not gonna say they're gonna guarantee you the job, but they do look good. But I also tell people too, because I've interviewed people in the past, like 4 roles. If you come in there looking like, you got like 10, 15 certs or whatever, and based on how you carry yourself, you could be digging yourself a hole. So you want to just be organic in yourself when it comes to the interview and sell the best traits about you. And realize that when you're talking to these people, they're not only interviewing you, you're interviewing them.
Mm-hmm. So basically, it's almost like you're building a brand. And so, like for instance, like your brand has to stand for something. Your brand can't be dipping in every single box. It'll eventually be like, so what do you stand for? So it's the same with the IT job. So like, man, you can't just get every single certification thing that it's looking good in my man, but what are you actually good at? Like, what can you actually produce? So so really just sitting back and doing that research and understanding what you may want to do, what you think your future can look like in the IT role, and then understanding the certifications, or maybe, like you said, gaining those experiences through those projects you said to help figure out your niche inside the IT role. Gotcha. So my last question would be, all right, it was a good one because it's something you hit on earlier, but this is a good one to end on. It says, how can I freelance for experience? So, for instance, like what can I do and post on my page as, okay, well, I want to go into the IT job, I want to build experience, but how can I freelance, gain a little side money, but really gain experience with it? What would be some like one of your top 3 or 5 things you say that somebody that's not as experienced as you could do?
Yeah, so definitely with the blog post, something else, and I wanna clarify too. Some people may not have to work help desk off the bat because they may have experience in other fields, and they have transferable skills that can lead them to different type of paths in IT world. So I don't want everybody to think they always have to begin with there. Some people just have no work career experience at all, so they may have to start at the beginning. But also, what I've seen some people do is they learn and they lab a lot, and then the next thing that they start doing is they create like their own company, and then they start volunteering their services or something. So let's say, for instance, you volunteer your services for a church or something like that. And then now you get you a little contract or something. It don't even have to be a lot of money, but you start documenting this thing you did for the church. Maybe the church didn't have Wi-Fi at first, and you're going to hit them set up their Wi-Fi network and make it secure. You can document everything you did right there.
Okay.
That's a way to freelance, because now you actually have something tangible that you brought value to somebody with a issue that they were having. Or it might be something else. Maybe they need a church database. Maybe they need something in the cloud. All the things you learn, you can always go to somebody or need it, or any type of, small business, because some of them don't even have websites or anything like that. So even if you want to like create websites, maybe say, hey, let me create you a website for my portfolio.
Okay.
It's different ways you can kind of skin the cat. You just got to look at it a different way.
Yeah.
You just got to be patient. This pandemic has turned everything kind of into like a rat race. Everybody trying to get the bag real fast, but
Yeah.
that don't really work all the time unless you got some really good connections or you just luck up.
Yeah. And like I say, at the OneMindSet Foundation, I like to tell people, man, life of a turtle. Take your time and master your skill, because the better you at your skill, the better you at yourself. So when it is time to perform, you perform at a high level. So definitely believe in that. And so the question my dog said right here said, what's a good salary, a high salary, and a low salary for an entry level job? So I guess it would depend on the job.
It depends on a lot of things: area, the average, job duties, job title, city.
Okay, I'll make it easy for you then. So so you mentioned he wanted to freelance on building so say he just freelance, went to the church, got him a website, and built up their network infrastructure. So what would be a good job that could translate that into the real world, and then what would be a good entry level job for that, or a good entry level pay for that?
So we brought up networking. So you might have something like a small network admin, knock analyst, something in that ballpark. I actually have a video with one of my friends in networking where I snipped from our podcast entry level networking salaries. That way, if I miss this up, her data is way on par for mine. But it depends. So I'm gonna say, okay, so I'm in the DFW area. So we're gonna say normally knock analysts, they probably get around 50, 55. And then it starts to drastically go up depending on credentials, what you know how to do. And now I will say sometimes different certs like Cisco certs, when people get like their CCNAs and their CCIEs and all the other stuff, their salaries, start going up. But most of the time, I can't say every area in IT, but if I would like say like networking, cloud, cyber, after like 2 years, 3 years, most of the time, if you are doing what you're supposed to do, you're close to mid senior level to where like you'll probably have a 6-figure role like any given time, most of the time.
Years.
Yeah, because
Okay.
some people try to come out the gate and go for it, but if that's what you want to do, you have to prove to them your value is worth that. If you're not showing them your value is worth that, they'll move on and find somebody else.
Mm-hmm. Okay, then. And so what I'll do, I'll try to get that the NIP you had of the podcast from the different salaries and try to input it into the YouTube video. So like somebody want to come back and study it, it just gains some just a little knowledge about it. They can know. And if anybody have a question or anything, or if you want to leave with just like, I'll probably leave with one big question that you can just hit to end it all. I'll see if anybody have a question. But one thing I want to ask.
Too.
Okay. Okay, my last question I asked, just for a home run would be, just like, okay, just for instance, so just like with sports, just because you made it to college or made it to the league, it don't mean that you made it for real. You still got to practice and get better each and every day. So I would just say, how long have you been doing IT?
Going into what? I think it's real close to, if I count 2012. Yeah, I would say like going into 10 years.
Okay, so you've been in a role for 10 years. And in these 10 years, for instance, in 2021, that would have been your 9th year. Or so in your 9th year and doing it, was there days where you still was like, man, I'm kind of confused right now. Let me go back and study a little bit. Is it an ongoing process of steady learning? It's like you said earlier, it's nothing about like just quick money, but mastering your skill day in and day out. Because I seen a video of a man that said he, even though he was in the role for the past 3 to 4 years, he still has trouble learning. He still has trouble like being stuck. Like, okay, let me go back to the drawing board, because that's what they're getting paid for in order to solve problems. And so, is that something that you still faces to this day?
Definitely. I mean, I got videos on that too. We pretty much say every so often you probably have to brush up on your fundamentals. We see in sports the athletic person be good for a little bit, but that QB that worked on their fundamentals over being super athletic career can still 10, 15, 20, 25 year career back there, because they worked on the small things. You see that with all the greats, Kobe, MJ, LeBron. They do the small things great. Whereas the other person, if we go back to, well, he's better now, but he got injured. Back before Blake really got his game good, all Blake was doing was dunking, catching lobs. But he was able to stay in the league now because he know how to post up. He can shoot, he can pass, he can do everything.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you have to always go back and learn on some fundamentals. I have to do it if it's something I forgot, because sometimes there's some stuff you hadn't had to touch in a while. This technology is always changing, so you won't always be doing the same things, especially going to various companies and multiple roles. Every company uses different software, different procedures, processes. So you'll just be a sponge. You'll have fun. You won't get too bored unless you're just doing the same thing every day.
For the last question, for my dog, he's been really active. Man, he trying to learn. He says, how are you working these new skills? Are we constantly filling out job applications or constantly learning? How do you maneuver as a tech person?
I'll tell people, don't apply until the skills you have in your resume you can talk about in the interview. A lot of times people just apply to stuff just to apply. But when you apply to things that more align with your skill set, you tend to be more successful. And the way you keep up with that is I give my clients I create this job tracker spreadsheet where they download it, where every time they apply to a job, they put it on there. What's the role? What's the skills on there? How you feel about your skills compared to them? And kind of just analyze how you feel about the role, and they'll let you kind of go from there, or what you need to work on. Also, when you're interviewing, it's a good thing just to apply to interview because you can see what skills you like. That's what I did last year before I went to a new company. I was just saying, okay, what they really looking for, and I found out what all the companies were looking for because, like you mentioned about people, companies, workers being remote, and all those different threats that came up because of people being remote. We had different issues arise, and why everybody's looking for people that know how to do something like an incident response.
So my last thing will be, man, follow my dog, the tech consultant. Get at him. He has too much knowledge to even talk about. We can be on here for hours. So follow him. Listen to his podcast, his YouTube page, and I'll also drop this on the OneMindSet Foundation YouTube page. You can go back and study it. And also, man, he has a tech consulting page where you can sign up for his class and learn your way and find your way into the IT role. Because a lot of times, like at the OneMindSet Foundation, I preach on just a lot of times we see that as minorities that we put into I want to say the right way, utility jobs. Black males at 14% into utility jobs, and as AI robotics just continue to grow, and as AI continue to grow, eventually those jobs will go obsolete. So just to put yourself in a role to be able to be on top of technology. So stay on top of your game, continue learning, and that's why I brought my dog on. Appreciate you.
I appreciate you for having it, man. Y'all can, like you said, tap in with me. I think I got close to almost 100 videos on YouTube now, dating back to like 2020. Pretty much a lot of stuff you can think about. I have a video where, like the questions Dwayne Director was asking, like I have a video talking about like my salaries throughout the year, corporate politics, different salaries for different positions, getting tech advice. You name it. Yeah, and I also got, if you go to my page, click the link in my bio, I have a Slack space. So it's free to join. You can join the Slack space, and we're always posting resources and other things. Like recently, for the people who are in my Slack space, I paid for I sponsored somebody to take some SOC analyst training with one of my friends that I network with that teaches the class. So excellent value of information that they got, right there. So you never know what type of giveaway I'm going to do. So yeah, just join as well. You can just stay up and be on the.
I'm gonna join with you. I'm getting to the tech role myself. Right after I finish my master's in it, I'm gonna get into it myself. So appreciate your time.
Hey, I was gonna say, who says you gotta finish, man? You never know. You can get one before you finish.
Oh, say no more. All in.
Yeah. Just tap in with me. I'll put you on game. Just tap in with me.
All right, I'm gonna join the Slack space and I'm gonna get with you. I'm gonna ask for those links, your Instagram, and the best way for people to contact you. So if they want to come back and watch this video, they'll know how to get at you. Appreciate you.
All right, man. Y'all be easy.
All right. All love.
All right, bet.